Welcome back. Lupin posted mixed Q4, you could say. Revenue has slipped, but margins have expanded significantly to come within estimates. The management is with us. Nilesh Gupta, Managing Director, Vinita Gupta, CEO, and Ramesh Swaminathan, CFO and Head Corporate Affairs join in. Thank you very much, all of you. Well, whom shall I start with? Nilesh, let me start with you. Your guidance for FY22, you are expecting a strong double-digit growth in India and the US in FY22. Now, can you tell us what is leading to these kinds of expectations? Why are you confident?
You know, in the last 4 years, we've been coming out of this trough and, some of the basic issues, like in the US, for example, we had the big metformins, which declined over time. And obviously, we were, coming out of that hole. We have some great growth drivers in place now, primarily on the back of the inhalation pipeline with products like albuterol. Last year, we basically had a half year. We were still in ramp-up mode. We had some supply constraints as well. We're in a great position now to capitalize on the opportunity, and you'll still see us in ramp-up mode in Q1, but from Q2, you should see us, in full mode as far as albuterol is concerned. Coupled with that, obviously, there's a bigger inhalation pipeline, which I'll let Vinita talk about. But then coming to India, again, last year was obviously a deeply impacted year. And we've seen, patients coming back, doctors coming back. Now, all of this has gone into a little bit of a decline in the current setting, but we see that basically bouncing back in a couple of months. Hopefully we've already hit a plateau, and we should see decline next as far as COVID cases are concerned, and that'll really pave the way for getting back to the double-digit growth in India. So double-digit growth in India, strong double-digit growth in the US, really growth in all the markets. All of that together should take us to a pretty good year.
Okay, got that. Let me also go across to Vinita now. Vinita, good to talk to you. Now, tell us about albuterol. How much are you expecting in terms of market share, say 6 months, 12 months down the line? And when it comes to the US portfolio for FY22, apart from albuterol, what are going to be your key drugs that will fire up revenues?
Yeah, so currently we are at 8% share and still ramping up. We hope to get to 20% share at the end of next fiscal year. And in terms of the other growth drivers, I mean, albuterol, of course, is a significant one for fiscal year 22. But we have other launches in the US like Brovana, Performist, and still ramping up, our inline products where we had supply challenges this past year, especially due to COVID. We expect, bounce back in some inline products. The flu season products, it's hard to predict, what the flu season is going to be like in this next fiscal year. But we hope it's going to be somewhat better than what it was this past fiscal year, which was pretty much nil, negligible in terms of a cough cold season. So all of those put together for the US would be the material growth drivers. And on the inhalation front, we also have Foster in Europe, which will come up soon as a material growth driver.
Okay, so can you tell us about Spiriva and when is that getting launched? And even the Foster generic, what is the contribution that you're building into sales?
Foster generic will likely be next. We've made good progress on that file with the European authorities and feel very good about getting the approval over the next few months and then launching it thereafter. So that will be a launch, pretty soon. Spiriva is going to be fiscal year 23. That's what we have guided to. We are working with the agency, with the FDA on the application. We are responding to their queries, as well as we have ongoing litigation on that product that we feel pretty good about. But expect to be in the market in fiscal year 23.
Okay, Ramesh, let me come to you now on margins. Pretty steady at 18% for the fourth quarter. But what's the guidance? Because we are hearing so much about major inflation in key drug inputs.
So, Ekta, you know that we have been working on several initiatives for the last several quarters. So, we've been working with, in fact, a world-class consultant on several initiatives since the last couple of years. And they have been bearing fruits over the last few quarters. So, it actually starts on, really working on every line along the P&L. So, when it comes to gross margins, we've been working on procurement costs, routes to synthesis, really everything that goes into cost of conversion, looking at productivity measures for R&D, for our sales force, operating leverage across various markets, rationalization of our sales force in America especially. So all of these have actually borne fruit, and the results are there to see. As you can see, when it comes to, in fact, the staff cost, for example, we reined it from 22.2% in the first quarter of the last fiscal down to, and we believe going forward it will be around the 18%. In terms of margins, it's been going up significantly. First quarter was 14.6, 16.6, 18.6, and finally at 18.2. The march will certainly continue. Price, of course, are to get to the 22% base over the next one or 2 years. This year, we think we'll be anywhere between 19 to 20%, and this without taking into account the operating other income or, for that matter, Forex. So I think it's a pretty decent target that we set for ourselves.
Okay. Nilesh, now let me come to all the COVID news. You have a voluntary licensing on Barcentinib. What are you expecting in terms of sales from this one?
Everything has been so rapidly moving in the COVID space, right? So everything is basis clinical trials, emergency use. I think the positioning of Barcentinib along with Remdesivir is a very powerful positioning. Obviously, I think we're a couple of months away from being able to bring the product ourselves, since we need to do our development. There will be a lot more that you will see in terms of clinical evidence that will come up in this time frame as well.
Okay, Nilesh, what about the voluntary licensing for a couple of these COVID drugs, Molnupiravir, Remdesivir? So is compulsory licensing an option at all that you could be looking at?
So that is obviously an extremely hot topic at this point of time. As we've shared, we are very clear. We obviously, as a company, respect patent rights. We certainly believe in voluntary licensing. There's been very few cases of compulsory licensing. I think it looks great in the short term as an option, but I think in the long term there are some deeper challenges with that. We're all for voluntary licensing.
It's a big mess. The statements we are getting on Barcentinib and compulsory license. I'm not envying the position you're in. But anyway, the need of the hour is vaccines. You have an ideal facility for fill and finish. Whom have you offered it to, and how quickly can it be used?
So we've been in touch with multiple players. Again, we traditionally are not a vaccine company. So from that perspective, we were certainly not first to be able to do anything in the vaccine space. Our lookout thereafter was, let's look for this as a best-in-class kind of product, something that will get used each year. We have not been able to close down on a product so far, but there are multiple conversations ongoing.
Okay, Nilesh, I want to sort of just understand whether you have any facility as of now that could be repurposed or converted or upgraded to manufacture Covaxin, because there I don't think we have such deep IP issues.
Yes, so we can do a BSL-3, but it's basically a fill-finish facility. So you still need the drug substance.
Okay, and Vinita, what are the other opportunities to ramp up in terms of vaccines? Are you in talks for imports with Pfizer or Moderna?
Yes, so we have talked to majority of them, Ekta, about vaccines and how we can help. Can we help from a distribution perspective? Can we help from a manufacturing perspective? And believe that, if and when companies are going to really look out for additional distribution partners, they will, consider partnering with us. And like Nilesh mentioned, we have also conversations ongoing. So we are looking at, a couple of vaccines that are in development as well. That likely could be suitable for India. I mean, we know with the Moderna vaccine, with the Pfizer vaccine, the storage temperature, distribution might be a challenge, might be a real challenge. So, we have been looking at other options that might be more suitable for India.
Vinita, finally, I am going to have to ask you this to, rest the rumors once and for all. Is Lupin at all on the block?
So, Ekta, as I mentioned in the conference call this morning, we are very, very committed as a family to this business. This is not just a business for us, it's a family legacy. We're very proud of what we have built over the years, what DBG built. We really consider it a real privilege to have the opportunity of taking this rich legacy forward. We're very excited with the prospects that we have in front of us. We have, in the last couple of years, with the efforts that our team has undertaken, we have really turned around the business and positioned it for growth over the next 3 to 5 years, and are fully committed to the business.
Okay, I guess that will be some bit of a reassurance for the markets. Thank you very much, Vinita, Nilesh and Ramesh, for joining us. We are completely out of time on Bazaar. We are winding up and Chartbusters comes up.